Friends, today is Wednesday, the 21st of October. We just completed our celebration of the Eucharist, and we'll take a look once again, at our gospel for today. Gospel that continues the theme that was introduced yesterday, and that is to be prepared. Readiness, to be prepared for the coming of the Lord. I mentioned yesterday it's kind of an Advent reading, which is coming up in a few weeks away. But a time in which we do prepare, we remember Christ has come and Christ will come again. And so to be prepared. And Jesus today gives us an example of the faithful and the prudent servant who is prepared. The faithful and prudent servant whom he puts over his household to distribute the food allowance at the proper time. The steward who has charge for the master to take care of the property and the people and everything else that is important to him. And you and I are those stewards. And are we prepared for the coming of the Master? We might say to ourselves, long delayed, and we take advantage of that. Or we're faithful and prudent and know that, yes, the Master will return, and to act faithfully and prudently. If there was one text emphasized in my seminary training, it was this text, because we as clergy were to be those faithful and prudent servants that the Lord places over his household, individually in various parishes and whatever assignment we are given, but to be faithful, to act in the place of the Master and to serve. And it says to distribute the food, to give people what they need, to give people who are hungry what they need. Faithful and prudent. I've talked about prudence before, which is one of the cardinal virtues. Remember the cardinal virtues? We don't talk too much about those these days, but the old catechism had us memorize those things: prudence, temperance, fortitude, and justice. But it said that prudence was the rudder that steers all the other virtues. In medieval times, the theologians and philosophers referred to prudence as the queen of the virtues. It enables one to make and do the right decision at the right time. The person who is prudent has a feel for the situation in this moment and can make a moral decision, a good decision in this moment. I've used the example of a quarterback in the middle of a play. He's got that ball, he's looking around, and he knows exactly what to do, has a feel in this particular situation to make a good decision. Prudence is similar to wisdom, but wisdom is a little bit different. Wisdom is the big picture. Wisdom and prudence act together. One has to have the big picture, is the expansive picture. It's seeing the world and everything else from the vantage point of God, the big picture, and within that big picture to act appropriately and accordingly to the particular situation that a person finds himself or herself in. And thus prudence and wisdom work together in the faithful and prudent steward. And when they work together, it's a very, very powerful thing. And for our gospel today and for our consideration, we kind of ask the question, which is kind of heard occasionally. Some people wear a little armband that says, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? In a sense, that's what prudence is. In this particular situation, if Jesus were present here, what would Jesus do? How would he act? How would he think? How would he move? as he was in a particular situation. And of course, in order to learn that, we have to apprentice ourselves to him, to follow him, to listen to him, to watch everything he does, to become as intimately connected with Jesus as we can, so that, as faithful and prudent servants, we can act as he does in his way of living, moving, and having his being with us. And so, as apprentices, we learn. It takes time, doesn't happen overnight, but it can be done. And it means becoming familiar with the Scriptures. And if we become good stewards and good apprentices and act as the Master would for his people, then the reward will be ours. And we look forward to that reward, which is, of course, eternal life. And every day, everything we do, to be ready, because we know not the hour in which the Lord will come. To be ready, to be prepared, to be a good and faithful and prudent steward. Have a great day. Hold that thought, and we'll see you tomorrow.